We're talking about what happens when you die, and do the experiences of, say, 13 million Americans who have had near-death experiences, gone through the tunnel, seen the great light, and so on, and come back. Not all of them have had that experience. What, 2/3 have not seen anything. So we're talking about 1/3 of those that are having them see something. But the fact is, what kind of conclusions do we draw from these people that have had these experiences? And Howard, in terms of the truth question, okay, you did not believe in the Orthodox view of God, the Bible, Jesus, and so on. In fact, you were against it, okay? You find yourself in hell. You had a hell experience. You didn't have one of these positive experiences. You had a hell experience, okay? What did that do to your view of reality? That went against your view of reality.
It totally destroyed it, and I had to rethink everything. But I was so eager after the experience to save my wife and my children and my friends from that hellish experience that I literally tried to hammer the Bible into them. It finally got to the point where I realized nobody could stand to be around me, because I would literally yell and scream Bible verses all day long, thinking that if I were loud enough and long enough, I could persuade them. I did much more harm. I did them irrevocable harm. It's taken them years to get over that and find Jesus Christ as their Savior in their lives because of the harm that
But you did it out of sincere concern, because you didn't want them to go where you'd been.
Well, the question,
absolutely.
Well, the question is this. Your methodology might have been wrong, but were you right even to bring it up?
Absolutely, because I think this is shocking. In my adult life, for as long as I can remember, I was never evangelized. No one ever mentioned anything about Jesus Christ or invited me to church or anything like that. I don't know what I would have done if they had. I mean, I can't predict that, but nobody ever did. The Christian witness out there, from my experience, doesn't exist, okay? I think we have an obligation. That's what I'm trying to convince my congregation of in my church. We have an obligation to go out there and to witness, and it's not to forcibly do anything to anybody, because that's counterproductive. It's to witness out of love and caring.
Okay, hold that thought. You didn't believe it either.
Right.
Okay? You saw a guy on the floor that you're working on in a clinical death situation where he's dying and you're trying to save his life, and he's going back and forth between hell, and you say a prayer and he gets saved, and the fact is all of a sudden you're saying, wow, what happened? Okay? It changed your whole worldview. Are you wrong now to write books and tell people about that?
No, that's my calling. And I told him to keep his hell to himself. I didn't want any part of religion or anything else. Now I'm collecting cases.
Yeah, let's just hold on that now. June, if you're like these two guys right now where you don't believe their worldview, and I certainly understand that. If you had, surprise, 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 an experience like him.
I did.
Answer, okay. But if you had a hell experience like him, the fact is, would you then warn people about that experience in any way?
Well, what happened to me, my platelet count dropped to 5,000.
If you had a hell experience, what would you do?
Would I warn them? I would say it's an individual thing. I can't say.
What would you do?
Many people, in my experience, feel that they can't tell the people they love, because if they love them, it's too terrible to tell people about, and they may then spend years trying. And maybe this ties into your question about evangelizing, if one is looking solely from the Christian perspective. But people spend decades trying to find the ways, to find the words in which to give some
Comfort.
not comfort, meaning. And I don't know what the word is that you guys aren't going to take exception to. I would say sacred, I would say holy, I would say profound, but I want God in there.
Okay.